Good day. I'm Menachem Avichayel for Trust in Hashem. This week we are going to cover Chayei Sarah, the fifth Parsha in the book of Bereishit. As you may recall, last week we talked about how Abraham did not want to listen to Sarah and send her child, the child that Hagar had, away. They agreed. They went to Hashem, asked Hashem, and Hashem told Abraham to do what Sarah tells him. That is a big moment in the history of the world. Until then, ever since the Garden of Eden, Eve was told that she was going to be like beneath Adam and have to listen to him and do whatever he says. Now we see something different took place last week. Sarah changed the history of the world and how it's supposed to operate. And as I had said last week, in Torah Judaism, women are considered on a higher spiritual level than men. So at the end of last week's Parsha, Abraham leaves from the Akedah, from where he went to sacrifice Yitzhak, but Hashem stopped him from doing that, said, no, child sacrifice is not what I want. And he gave him a lamb, and he did the lamb instead. And after the Akedah, he went home, went to Beersheba, and it says he settled in Beersheba. So this week in Parsha Chayei Sarah, it starts out by saying that Sarah was in Kiryat Arba, what we call Hebron today. So the question immediately comes up like, well, how did she get there? What was she even doing there? We're talking about what, like 37, 38, 3,900 years ago? Women didn't just pick up and start walking around back then. It was very dangerous out there for a woman to be out by themselves like that. So here we see another example about how it is actually Sarah that's setting the stage for how, where, when, why, who the Jewish people are going to be. What is Am Yisrael? She determines the direction of it. Again, we see that here. She's in Kiryat Arba because the cave of Machpelah is there. After she passes on, Abraham leaves Beersheba, comes to Kiryat Arba, buys the cave of Machpelah, and buries her in there. This is a moment that, as I said, marks a total different direction for the entire world, especially Am Yisrael, the nation of Israel. The nation of Israel has a way about itself that they don't look like other nations, other religions, other nations throughout history have looked down on women. In fact, they've been able to just toss women aside. That's not a missile going off. That's thunder that's out there. It's raining really hard here. There's a lot of loud thunder. If you hear that in the tape, it's just thunder, so don't worry. It's not a missile. So anyway, the direction that history takes is being established here by Sarah. In Torah Judaism, as we have said, women are on a higher spiritual level. This has always been that way throughout Am Yisrael's history, throughout the Jewish people's history. I have some books here, like this is what they call the Babylonian Talmud. It was started like around 1,500 years ago and was finished about 1,400 years ago. Right behind me here is the Jerusalem Talmud. That was started about 1,700 years ago and was finished about 1,600 years ago. That is the codes of laws for the Jewish people. It is the end of the code of Jewish law. Nothing can be added that's not in the Talmud. If it's not in the Talmud, it's not supposed to be part of our law. That is the way we work it. So in there, many a time, you'll see rabbis, which rabbis were the people that were like sort of in charge of the legal ends of things back in those days. A lot of the rabbis would say, well, I'm going to go home now. You know, they would be in the study hall and they were going to say, oh, I'm going to go home now. They weren't referring to their actual house where they lived. They were referring to their wives. They considered their wives the center of their entire home. Their entire existence revolved around the wife. Why? Well, for one thing, children are only Jewish if the wife, the mother, is Jewish. If the husband is Jewish, it makes no difference if he doesn't marry a Jewish woman. His children will not be Jewish, period. That's simple. Obviously, well, ever since approximately 150 years before the end of the Second Temple, they started actual formal conversions. So if a person would formally convert, then the child could be Jewish then. So as you can see, women take a very prominent role in Torah Judaism. Thank you. Have a good Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom.